Today we're driving the all-new 2025 Toyota 4Runner. We are in a TRD Off-Road Premium, which costs $56,220 as tested with the moonroof and the tow tech package. We have a 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder that makes 278 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque. That's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission with a 2-speed transfer case. So we get 2 high, 4 high, 4 low. We also get a locking rear differential, downhill assist control, crawl control, and multi-terrain select. This looks like a pretty nice 4Runner. This costs about what the old TRD Pro used to go for, so about $55,000, $56,000. Except now we can get into some more expensive options like the TRD Pro, the Limited, the Platinum, the Trail Hunter going for almost 65 grand. So is this kind of the sweet spot? I think it might be for the enthusiast who wants to go off-road but still wants a nicely equipped and nicely finished 4Runner. We've got the 14-inch multimedia display, JBL sound system, some TRD badging on the engine start stop and shift knob right here. Let's walk you guys around this real quick. We've already done a walk around of the 4Runner. I literally just hopped into this and drove to this parking spot. So these are going to be some very first impressions. In terms of driving, we've got Falcon Wild Peak AT3WA tires, which seems like a more highway-oriented all-terrain. This can tow 6,000 pounds. Power tailgate. And a little bit of a lower load floor, given that this isn't the hybrid. Honestly, not getting the hybrid in the new 4Runner might be the way to go, just because you get a little bit more cargo space, and a lot of this isn't taken up with a battery. This does not have a third row, so we can't show you guys what that looks like. What size are these tires? These are 265/70 R18s. Wheels look really nice. Back seat space looks to be about the same as it was before. Slightly larger vehicle in proportions. Of course, a lot of this stuff is shared with the new GX and the Toyota Land Cruiser. Let's pop the hood here. Take a look at this 2.4 turbo. A lot of similarities here to the Tacoma, which we've driven extensively. A lot of torque here. It's rated for 19 miles to the gallon in the city and 25 on the highway. Nice to see grab handles. Kind of a weird ingress into this back seat with this cup holder here. I'm 5'10". This is my driving position. I'm pretty comfortable back here. Good amount of headroom. There's a bit of a bump out where the rear passengers' heads would sit. Nice LED light. I mean, the interior is pretty much a carbon copy of what we see in the Tacoma and maybe even the Tundra. It's all very similar looking. It's a nice interior. Materials feel good. Everything seems to be pretty well designed ergonomically. Lots of physical controls. The infotainment is easy to operate. We get air vents, 2 USB-C ports, 120 volt, 400 watt AC adapter. Nice water bottle cup holder right here. And it looks like these are production door panels, which are nice. Second row seats tumble forward. And you get adjustable backrest. All right, you guys have seen all this stuff in our walk-around videos that we filmed before. No grab handle for the driver. We get 2 seat memory settings. I mean, gosh, this is pretty well equipped, all things considered. This morning we're on our way to Vocht Ranch, just outside of San Diego, so we'll let the in-car GPS take us there. Let's set off, and we'll see what we can do with this on the way out there. A little bit of city driving, probably some back road driving. Steering super light. Already, from just driving this couple blocks, I can feel like it's a little bit tighter and more refined feeling than the Tacoma. It just seems to be a bit better buttoned together. It feels a little bit larger inside here too, especially in the back seats, even though those are raised up slightly. We get 3 drive modes: normal, eco, and sport. Sport mode for the transmission. Good torque off the line. 4-cylinder doesn't seem to be too loud. Steering is just finger light here. No annoying auto start stop. That's good. We also get a digital rear view mirror. All right, see if we can make our way out of San Diego here without getting too lost. A little bit of turbo whistle there from the 2.4 turbo. We have Bilstein dampers on this 4Runner. A little bit more ground clearance than you get in the base SR5, but not quite as much as you see in the TRD Pro and the Trailhunter. This is a much more responsive powertrain than the old 4-liter V6, which will remain legendary for its reliability. Time will tell if this 2.4 turbo is as bulletproof. Super comfortable drive on the highway. Good visibility, not a ton of road noise. The adaptive cruise control system seems to be working pretty well. It does feel larger on the road. I feel like I'm just taking up more space in the lane than I used to. The previous 4Runner was a little bit narrower, a little bit smaller. This definitely has a larger footprint on the road. About as big as the old LC200 Land Cruiser. What about seating position? This driver's seat gets nice and low. Lots of adjustability. We have an electronically adjustable steering wheel. I like to see that. A couple months ago when Toyota released pricing on the new 4Runner, I think a lot of people had some sticker shock just based on how much more expensive some of the top trims were. But at the end of the day, the SR5, the base models, they're not that much more expensive than the outgoing, maybe a few $1,000s more here and there. It's just that when you get into the higher trims, like this TRD Off-Road Premium, this is as expensive as the TRD Pro used to be. And yes, you are seeing a lot more feature content here, a lot more things to kind of justify that price, modern amenities, and of course just inflation. But I feel like this is still kind of the sweet spot in the lineup. The Trailhunter, the TRD Pro, those are both iForce Max hybrid powertrains. This, you get more cargo storage in the back because it doesn't have battery pack taking up 4 inches of height. And it's just a little bit more affordable of a price for you to modify and kind of do whatever you want to with this 4Runner. If you're going to be taking it off-road, if you're going to be camping with it, you know, you can throw a rooftop tent on the top. You can, you know, maybe increase the size of your tires, go instead of 33s or 35s, maybe toss on some protection like rock slide or something like that, and you'd still be well under the $65,000 price tag of a Trailhunter, but with a simpler powertrain. And I think there's something to be said about this TRD off-road package. It rides well. It's kind of got all the luxuries and amenities that I would want out of a 4Runner like this. And so far, on first impression, it seems to drive pretty well too. I honestly don't think the Hybrid Max is going to be that much quicker off the line than that. It's a little bit of delay until boost kicks in, but we'll do another acceleration here, show you guys what that looks like. We're in 2 high, no full-time 4-wheel drive in this. You have to go for the limited to get that, just like you do in the Tacoma. All right, we're off. Almost feels like it's boosting by gear a little bit. Second pulls a little bit harder than first does. I mean, that's decent acceleration. That's the old 4-liter could not hope to touch that. Let's go into sport mode for whatever that's worth. No paddle shifters behind the wheel. I don't think even the TRD Pro gets those. We do have a sport mode for the transmission though. We'll play around with that once we get into some twistier sections of road. Looks like you do have some control over your own gears, but it's limiting, like it is in a lot of Toyota products. It's more of a suggestion than an outright demand to change gear manually. Brakes are a little bit sensitive. You kind of have to modulate your foot accordingly. They just require a light touch, but they're powerful. Good bite. Four-cylinder sounds good too. It's a little bit throatier, more guttural of a tone. I like that. And again, I can't stress how this is just a bit more refined of a driving experience. I mean, Toyota's probably going to sell these things like crazy. And if I had to choose between the GX, the Land Cruiser, and this might be the top choice, unless if I wanted to really swing, you know, for the fences and go full-on Lexus GX over trail or something, but that's a $70,000 vehicle at that point. And for something that can essentially do the same thing, this 4Runner around 50 to 55 seems like the better buy. We will be testing this off-road some today, so we've got a mild off-road course that we can take these 4Runners through. Those will be separate videos. This drive is just kind of giving you guys some first impressions, what everything feels like, how it drives. There's still so much torque here. It's a very different driving experience from the 5th gen 4Runner. Ride is comfortable now that we're getting onto some bumpier roads. These Bilstein dampers seem to soak up everything on the street pretty well. This might be a pretty good kind of compromise between on-road and off-road handling. I know in the Tacoma, the Bilsteins are amazingly soft for low-speed off-roading. You get into some higher speed terrain and they seem to get a little bit too squishy. But these are remote reservoir monotube Bilstein dampers. They might do okay. This class of vehicle is an interesting landscape because you've got options like the Jeep Wrangler and the Bronco, which are super fun and super capable off-road, but I'm not sure I'd want to drive either of those vehicles on a long distance road trip just because of wind noise, NVH, comfort. But something like this, I could drive this across the country without any hesitation. It's a comfortable vehicle, but it still has really good off-road capability when you get to the trail, when you get to your destination. And hopefully, with this new powertrain, it'll get better fuel economy too. Not sure how that will translate in the real world, but if it's rated for 25 miles to the gallon on the highway, that's saying something. Here is our closest following distance at 45 miles an hour. Pretty good distance here. If we turn on lane tracing assist, it seems to be doing pretty good steering work on its own. Even at this lower speed, the driving assistance stuff works great. Toyota's really improved a lot of the tech in the background in their new products, from crawl control becoming really quiet, really smooth, really refined, to the driving assistance stuff. It just all works great. Now we're getting out into the country. Alright, seeing some twistier sections of road here. Handling seems to be pretty sure-footed, no major complaints there. We're in sport mode. Handling here feels pretty good. It's light on its feet. Steering weight's up nicely around a corner. Torque is awesome coming out of some of these hairpins. It's easy to drive out here. Just a nicely balanced SUV in all respects. All right, so how can we sum up some first impressions on the 2025 Toyota 4Runner? Ultimately, I'm surprised at how well this drives. The power delivery is excellent, the gearbox works great, it's comfortable, it seems pretty darn well equipped in this TRD Off-Road Premium trim. A little bit more expensive than it used to be, but you knew that going in. Overall, I'm impressed with this as a package. It drives great, it feels awesome, it's comfortable. It has good road manners. I'm sure it's very capable off-road, especially with a locking rear diff. You get a little bit into the stratosphere with some of the higher trims, getting close to, GX territory there. But maybe it's worth it for some people. Ultimately, I don't really think the iForce Max powertrain is worth the extra money in some cases, depending on what you're going to be doing with your 4Runner. This 2.4 turbo has plenty of torque, plenty of power. You get a little bit more cargo space in the back without that battery. It's a lighter weight, and it's still probably pretty fuel efficient, rated for 25 miles to go on the highway, 19 in the city. So we'll see in the real world how that actually translates. In terms of NVH, this is a big improvement over the Tacoma. No shakes, no rattles in this. We'll see how some of the other 4Runners feel that we drive today. But overall, I like this TRD Off-Road Premium. I think this might be kind of the sweet spot in the lineup. This might be the way to go. It drives great. It looks good. In this color, Heritage Blue, I think it's kind of a little bit more of a statement, which is cool. And pricing seems to be about right for the feature content that you're getting over the previous generation. We'll give you guys some more driving impressions today. We'll see how this does off-road. Got a cool course here.
Check the Vic.
Number 10, yep. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Welcome back.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, I am curious to see how this performs and drives off-road, but I mean, even just right here, it seems like the Bilstein dampers in this are pretty comfortable, pretty well damped. Of course, depends on tire pressure too. I'm not sure what these are set to, but we'll get a few different opportunities to test this on different terrain today. They used to have a higher speed off-road course for the TRD Pros, and then a kind of a lower speed, more technical course for everything else. We'll probably be able to take this out onto the lower speed, more technical course and see how it does through a few different obstacles. So anyway, for now, those are some first driving impressions on the Toyota 4Runner. I think it looks pretty good on these wheels too. First, I was a little bit torn on the styling, whether it seemed like it was too similar to the Tacoma, but I think it differentiates itself enough inside and out. This newer platform really does feel more luxurious, more usable, more refined. I think what you're spending in extra money on MSRP, you're gaining in better refinement, on-road manners, and probably off-road capability too. And just, this is the latest and greatest from Toyota. It's probably going to last us the next 15 years, depending on regulations and where everything goes. But we can expect this to stick around for a while. And on first impressions, it drives great. So we'll leave you guys on that note. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in some more videos here soon. We'll try to get behind the wheel of a Trail Hunter, a TRD Pro, and maybe some other trims. Probably even a base SR5 would be fun. And we've got some fun driving routes out here just north of the Mexico border at Vogt Ranch. So stay tuned for some more videos coming out. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.